Jay, thanks for the very nice words. And hey, this is not about me. This is about the man I want to talk about. You know, because of Greg Norman, I believe you do get a second chance at a first impression. When I first met Greg in 1976, we were paired together for the first two rounds of the Australian Open. I heard great things about this dashing blonde 21-year-old Australian, and I was looking forward to witnessing it myself. Greg stepped up on the first tee and proceeded to cold top his drive en route to an 80. I promise you, folks, it got much better from that point on. Inauspicious start or not, I immediately began to follow this talented young golfer. He won in just his third start as a 21-year-old. He played the Australasian and European tours, winning a combined 15 times. And I paid close attention. I watched as he became a great player and one of the best drivers of a golf ball there has ever been. Very early on, Greg exhibited great flair on the course of the gallery, and people loved him. Not long after, Greg moved to South Florida, to the same Lost Tree community where Barbara and I were raising our family. I used to kid Greg, and I said that, you know, I lived a driver and a three iron away from his house, and he said, you only lived a driver and a wedge for me. He was spunky, and I liked that. In 1991, we got a call from a friend who was selling his house just north in Hobe Sound. Barbara and I were interested in taking a look, and we called Greg and invited him to go along. I knew almost immediately that Greg was going to buy that house, and he did that day or shortly thereafter, I believe, and has lived in the same house ever since. Greg grew close to our family, became friends with our boys. He took Jack on numerous trips, one to Australia on a hunting and fishing trip. And Greg really became connected with our son, Gary. In fact, someone who worked for me was talking to Gary the other night about Greg, and this is what Gary texted. He says, when I was a young aspiring kid and soon to be a pro, Greg was not only an idol of mine, but a friend. He took time to look at me and took me under his wing, so to speak. He was good to me then and always has been since. Greg was an icon and a busy man, but he always had time for me. I have the utmost respect for Greg as a great competitor and champion, but also as a true friend to me. Greg is 14 years older than Gary, and I'm 15 years older than Greg. With the age difference, Greg and I didn't have the opportunity to compete against each other a great deal, but there were a few times he got me, and perhaps I got him once. In 1986, well, I didn't hit a pitch out on the 18th hole. Greg was 31 and perhaps near the zenith of his bright career. He had a phenomenal season in 1986, leading all four majors that year after 54 holes. At age 46, I caught lightning in a bottle, got a little bit lucky, and I happened to win that one. Then another golden oldie, in 43-year-old Ray Floyd, got him at Shinnecock in the U.S. Open in the final round 66. Like me, it was Floyd's last major championship win. Then we got to Turnberry in the British Open. Again, Greg found himself leading on Saturday night. I took the opportunity to sort of intrude on his dinner and to sit down with Greg and talk about what happened at Augusta and what I saw. Only Greg can tell you if what I told him helped at all, but the important thing was he listened. That is what is uniquely special and beautiful about the game of golf. We're a brotherhood. And when someone is in need, there's usually plenty of hands extended to help. And I'm pleased to be able to try. I've always been pleased to try to help a friend. And when Greg won the Open for his first major, I couldn't have been happier for him. By the fall of 1986, Greg ascended to the #1 spot in the world, a spot he would hold on to for an incredible, as you've heard, 331 weeks over the next 11-plus years. He went on to win 91 times around the world, 20 times on the PGA Tour, and add another major, the 1993 British Open, where he finished with the final round 64. In 2001, Greg was an obvious selection for the World Golf Hall of Fame, and needless to say, his legacy as one of golf history's greatest players was very much etched in stone. Greg and I shared a great deal in common and still do. We both grew up loving and playing other sports until a copy of Golf My Way helped in a small way turn Greg from cricket, rugby, and Australian rules football to a scratch golfer in just 18 months. There was the golf, where we both enjoyed some success, both using similar McGregor persimmon drivers until they almost had to pry them out from my hands. And there are interests off the golf course, from course design to business to growing the game of golf worldwide to our love of fly fishing or whatever might happen on the outdoors. We really enjoy it. We are both husbands, fathers, and doting grandfathers. And, of course, we both still have that blonde hair and similar physiques. I don't understand why you're laughing. I just don't understand that. He is one guy who has really kept himself in shape. At age 62 now, he is still hard as a rock. And he's out trying to play tennis. If you look at his left leg, you can see what happens when he tries to play tennis. Seriously, Greg has done an outstanding job developing his business and a brand, arguably better than anyone in the game. When you Google Greg Norman, the first two items that pop up are about his products and where to buy them. Sure, Greg will tell you he's received good advice and support along the way. But we all know it helps when you have a good head on your shoulders, and Greg does. He made a brilliant transition from golf to business and also to philanthropy. Like my wife Barbara and me, Greg has a very large soft spot in his heart for kids and helping them. He has raised millions for various charities, including Cure Search for Children's Cancer. Children and helping them is an important pillar of the Memorial Tournament. So is honoring those who honor this game, who contributed to it, who helped shape it, and those who, when they left the game, did all they could to leave it better than the way they found it. That's my impression of Greg Norman, be it my first, second, or lasting impression. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present the 2017 Memorial Tournament honoree, my friend, Greg Norman.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Jack, and thank you, Barbara. When I woke up this morning, I got on the plane to fly up here, and I was trying to think about what this honoree means to me. And it was only upon reflection and looking back over the number of past honorees that you do realize that you made some profound impact on life. Not only just what you do on the golf course, but what you do off the golf course. So to you, Jack, and the captain's members for bestowing the honoree on me this year, I thank you very much. And Barbara, thank you. Jerry, I want to congratulate you on your award as well. And to the posthumously past individuals that are no longer with us, the Harvey Wards, the Tony Lemas, and the Ken Venturis. The Ken Venturi, the guy I loved in the booth, the guy always came down and had an opportunity to talk to me at the end of 18 holes or 36 holes just to see how I was doing. He was passionate about his job. He was passionate about his sport. And he was passionate about people. And when he passed away, it was a very, very sorely missed day in my life because he had a special place in my heart, no question about it. So anyway, when I was thinking about what the award meant to me, I really had a hard time conjuring up what to say. So I figured I'd just wing it. And sometimes that's the best way to do it, to speak from the heart. Because most of the time when you speak from the heart, you do deliver the message you want to deliver. So to all the people here, I want to thank you, the 42 people, you people have been here for 42 years. I want to congratulate and thank you for the support you've given this place. 46 years ago, Jack Nicklaus had a profound impact on my life. And 46 years ago, I was 16 years old. 46 years ago, I was studying physics and chemistry at home. My father came in and he actually saw 55 ways to play the game of golf and golf my way. And boy, did I get my butt kicked really hard. I failed physics and chemistry, but I did not fail in the game of golf. And those two books at the age of 16, and this is where I'm going to correct Charlie for fake news. I didn't think Ohio had fake news. But Charlie, I 27 handicap 46 years ago, and I got down to scratch in 18 months, not 2 years. So no fake news in Ohio. But during that process of getting down from 27 to scratch, I buried my head in Jack's books. I wanted to get into his mind. I wanted to get into his golf swing. More so his golf swing than anything else early on, because one thing that resonated from his book was figure out how to hit it as hard as you can possibly hit it, and then learn how to hit it straight. I said, okay, that's a good rule of thumb. And that's exactly what I did. 4.5 million golf balls later, a couple of back surgeries. Thanks, Jack. But in all honesty, that's what I did. I followed what his message was in his books. And as I think back to 46 years ago, when I thought I didn't have a chance in heck of being a professional golfer or being successful, I stayed the course. And like all of us who have a dream, and your dreams are the blueprint of reality, if you have that dream, you've got to keep chasing it and chasing it and pushing and pushing. You never know where it's going to end. You never know how it's going to end. And here I am today, 46 years later, being the honoree at the Memorial Tournament. I never anticipated this. And then back in those days, these servicemen and women over here to my left, I wanted to turn and burn and be a fighter pilot. I had no idea, even at 27 handicapper, that I would be a professional golfer, so I had to look somewhere else. I wanted to be one of those guys in the F-16 chasing bad guys and shooting them down. But no, golf drew me to the golf course to get myself to a place where I found myself individually. I found myself pushing and pushing, like I said to you before. So then comes my first meeting with Jack. The first meeting was, Jack mentioned, at the Australian Open in 1976. Nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof. I couldn't believe it. When I was walking up from the driving range, Jack was walking down, and I didn't know what to say or do, and Jack was polite enough. We stopped, we had a photograph, and then we disappeared. I knew I was going to play with Jack the next day in the first round, and Jack was 100% correct. No fake news there. I did cold top it on the first tee shot. So you imagine how small you feel of being in front of the greatest player in the game of golf, and you just hit it. How many people have cold topped it? Please tell me the truth. Yes. I'm a member of a great club. But anyway, I do remember sitting in the locker room at the end of 36 holes. And their names alphabetically, Nicklaus, Norman, were pretty close. And Jack did say to me, he reached over, as we were changing our spike shoes in those days, he reached over and he said something very profound to me again. He said, you've got the makings to make it in America. And I thought about that long and hard. Now, remember, this was only the fourth golf tournament I ever played in my life. And he's the greatest guy saying, you're going to make it in the game of golf. So that pushed me. But I didn't jump on the plane and go to America straight away. I wanted to test myself around the world. I wanted to groom myself the best I possibly could. So I went to Japan, I went to Europe, I played in Australia, I played in South Africa, I played all over the world except the United States. And when I got my first invitation to come here to this golf tournament in 1977 to play in the Memorial, I successfully missed the cut. Because of this weather you always have here in Ohio. I wasn't used to it. In Australia, it's warm and hot and balmy and beautiful. But here you have everything in all in one day. So anyway, I grew myself. I honed my skills. But one thing I did do, I never not stayed in touch with Jack. He was saying what I did for Gary, his son, Jack did for me in a lot of ways. He took me under his wing, but I kind of invited myself under the wing because I wanted to learn. I wanted to emulate from taking what I learned in the books to practicality on the golf course to learning in life. And there's no better person that I've ever known in the 46 years of reading that first chapter in 55 Ways to Play the Game of Golf, that what he has done in representing not only life, but representing our sport of the game of golf better than any human being that I've ever known. Because Jack always respected the game of golf and always made sure the game of golf stayed ahead of any player or any institution that ever was involved with the game of golf. Humility was a wonderful thing with him. He would come to the first tee, he'd cut your heart out and give it to you at the 18th hole because he was going to beat you. But at the end of the day, if you beat him, he was the first to congratulate you. And obviously in 86 was a big year for me in some ways. But Jack is right. In the 86 Turnberry British Open, he did come up to me on that Saturday night. And even though he was completely out of contention, if he was in contention, he probably wasn't going to give me the tip anyway. But Jack did give me a wonderful tip, and I did think about it, and I did. When I woke up in the morning, I was thinking about it walking to the driving range. And I have a saying to this day that I say to myself when I get under pressure, make love to your hands. And when you grip a golf club and you put too much pressure in there, like Jack had noticed, sometimes your timing is just not right. So that tip allowed me to go to the driving range on a Sunday morning, feel something new, feel something fresh that I was not aware of. And I went on to win. So that's the essence of the man, to, as he said, to help other people be successful. Today I'm the same way. I get no more sense of satisfaction than any one of these young gentlemen practicing behind us to see them succeed. Because we all know how hard it is to succeed. So from me being here at this podium, to all of you being here for 42 years, I want to finally say to Jack and to Barbara and to the community of Dublin, Ohio, for your support you've given this tournament has just been incredible. When you think about 42 years young, and you think about the winners of this tournament, and you think about the strength of this field, it's as equal to any major championship, equal to any tough golf course we play. I've always said when I won around here twice, it was the proudest moments of my life because I always wanted to win on Jack's golf courses because you have 14 golf clubs in your bag, and Jack Nicklaus designs a golf course to test all 14 golf clubs. So you know when you perform well around his golf course, you know you perform well. So in closing, congratulations to everybody for the support you've given this tournament, from the community, from the government level, to the volunteers, 3,000 volunteers here, which is absolutely an amazing feat. You've created something here that's not going to go away. It'll be here forever. It'll be here long after Jack is pushing up daisies. No question. But that's the legacy of the man, and I appreciate from my bottom of my heart for the legacy that you've put into this tournament for Jack, for Barbara. Thank you very much, everybody.
Look at that. Wow. Thank you so much, Greg, and I apologize for the 6-month discrepancy. But one thing, it's not fake news. That was as inspiring and emotional speech in recognition of honor that I've heard. It really was. Now, we hear from Jack once again.
Already?
Well, I could do something else.
Let me see now what I got. Well, I got page 2 here. You got a lot of me today. I don't know why, but we do. Thank you, Charlie. Charlie shows us the 20th year Charlie's been MC of this golf tournament. He says, Charlie, he says you get the official Memorial Tournament T-shirt and coffee mug. You know, I do want to acknowledge that Peggy Kirk Bell, who, as long as she had the ability to be here, was here and contributed greatly to our tournament, and we certainly miss her. We also miss a close friend of mine, and who passed away last year, was a gentleman who helped start the Memorial Tournament. Every year he organized everything that went on and got ceremony and everything. Was a fellow named Ken Bowden, who wrote about, I don't know how many books Ken and I wrote together, but we probably wrote 15 books together. And Ken passed away this last year. And also, I'd like to comment a little bit on Arnold. You know, that we certainly miss Arnold. We miss his thumbs up. We miss his strength, his everything that he meant to the game of golf, and to all of us. I mean, Greg said that he wanted to have me take him under his wing a little bit. Well, Arnold took me under his wing when I first started, and it was greatly appreciated. Many things that Arnold taught me and had got me to do, I still do today, and largely because of my friend. When you lose a friend, you lose part of yourself. And, well, you all know we all miss my friend. I want to recognize and thank our attending military. Jay, liked him throughout his tenure as commissioner. We appreciate the support you've given the memorial in recent years and certainly today. Your kind words were very appreciated. Thank you so much. Oh, why do I do this? I could call it the wind. Jerry, congratulations. Recipient of this year's Memorial Journalism Award. Jerry is chairman and editor-in-chief of Golf Digest ever since I've been involved with Golf Digest. Jerry is an intern at Golf Digest 40 years ago. And, of course, we talked about being at age 28, being the editor-in-chief. But he joins the list of 9 Golf Digest writers and editors who have been honored at the memorial. Jerry's been a good friend for many decades. Anything I've ever wanted or ever needed at Golf Digest, Jerry has always been there, and he's obviously the big reason that I returned to Golf Digest in 2004, and we've had, as I say, we've had a great relation. We're delighted to be able to honor you today, Jerry, my friend. To the close to 3,000 volunteers, your commitment and dedication every year is crucial to the success of the memorial. In particular, I want to recognize the chairpersons, both women and men here today, and thank you for the countless hours you spend to ensure the success of the memorial. Good. Those volunteers are sensational, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Our wonderful, and to our wonderful fans and patrons, you're fantastic. You've supported us for many, many years, and you are why I wanted to create the Memorial Tournament, Muirfield Village Golf Memorial Tournament. I wanted to bring golf back here to Columbus and show it in a real quality way. I think after 42 years, I think we are doing a pretty good job of it. And it's not me. It's all you. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge our tournament director, Mr. Dan Sullivan, club manager Nicholas LaRocca, a golf professional Larry Dornish, and our new superintendent, Chad Mark. Are they right here somewhere? Chad's probably out working. The rest of them are probably here. And we had Paul Latshaw was here for 17 years, did a wonderful job with the golf course. And Paul has moved on to be closer to his father. Fortunately for Paul, his father lives very close to Marion, and Marion is where he went. Paul will do well there. But we thank him for his 17 years, and we know that Chad, who came for us via Kirkland and Cleveland and Inverness, will do a great job. And I think you'll see it out there today. This week you'll see this golf course in marvelous condition. From day one, this facility and this tournament was our way to give back to Central Ohio, and most important, Nationwide Children's Hospital. That does not happen without a team truly at the heart of giving back. Our presenting sponsor, Nationwide, please join me in thanking Steve Rasmussen and everyone at Nationwide for their unwavering support and commitment. Steve, it's been great. Appreciate it. And also thank you for the chance, a few minutes to talk about my friend Greg Norman. And thank you now for allowing me to recognize and thank you. Thanks to so many critical people. It also gives me an opportunity to pay tribute to our posthumous honorees. Before I do that, I want to take a moment to thank Jack Peter for being here with us today. Jack, thank you. Great job being here. We appreciate it, you being here. And we had a special trio this year, and we're honored to have members of their families with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to go start off with Harvey. Harvey Ward was a good friend. We met 1958 U.S. Amateur. I was 18 years old. Harvey was just coming off of the suspension that they talked about. Harvey was not on his game, but Harvey could really putt. I beat him 3 ways from Sunday to the green. Harvey had 22 putts that day, including 2 chip-ins to beat me 1 up. And I never liked that. But Harvey was a competitor, and he was a good one. We played together as teammates in the 59 Walker Cup matches. Harvey was in his early 30s then. I was 19. Harvey brought energy and personality to our team. Remember Joe Dye, who was our first commissioner, was also executive director of the USGA then, gave everybody nicknames to him. I happened to be Snow White. But Harvey, whose full name was E. Harvey Ward, was dubbed E. Mickey Mouse. And from then on, I never called Harvey anything but E. Mick. Anyway. But perhaps my favorite memory of Harvey came thanks to Bernard Darwin. Bernard Darwin was a very talented and famous golf writer in Britain back around that time. And he had very clever wit. And one day Harvey came out of the clubhouse. We were playing at Muirfield and came out at Grey Walls where we were staying. And he had this big broad stripe purple and burgundy sort of polo sweater on. And Bernard looked over at Harvey and he says, "Harvey, my boy," he says, "perchance are those your old school colors or your own unfortunate choice?" It was his own unfortunate choice. Let's see here. I got to find another page. Tony Lima. You know, first time I really watched Tony, saw him play was basically 63 Masters. I mean, he played before that. Actually, 62 he beat me at Buick Open where I hooked it out of bounds at the last hole, but I forgot that. But he was runner-up at the 63 Masters. First time he'd really contended in a major champ when I won my first green jacket. He won the Open Championship in 64. I finished second. And we played together in the then called Canada Cup, now the World Cup in Madrid in 1965. Tony was incredible talent with a great natural ability. He was fluid, and there was nothing forced at all about his action. Barbara and I got to know Tony and his wife Betty reasonably well through that trip. They were fun-loving people, and Betty was a great influence on Tony's life and career. And sadly, my last memory of Tony was watching him walk off the golf course at Firestone on Sunday, July 24th, 1966, at the PGA Championship. I was signing autographs, and Tony was going along, and he signed a few, and he went along. He had an airplane to catch. Unfortunately, that airplane took his life later in that day. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Tony grew up in the San Francisco area and played a lot of golf with our other honoree, Ken Venturi. I remember coming to the Master the first couple of years and watching Ken Venturi practice. And I was always amazed at watching what I thought was a very simple motion that was very efficient. He was one of the finest golf swings and ball strikers I'd ever seen. His win in '64 at Congressional, battling 100-degree heat and dehydration, was incredibly special. More than his golf, which was slowed by injuries, his 35-year career as a golf announcer was unparalleled. And as Greg talked about it, and coming off the green, always talking with Ken, I think Ken was a great supporter. And I still to this day, I love going down to our museum. And if you've been to the museum, my museum down on the Ohio State campus, the Ohio State University campus, they go through the major championships, and the Masters, it starts out with Jack Whitaker, and he stops with about 10 holes to play. And then it's picked up in a special theater by Ken Venturi. And I always loved listening to Ken and the way he described that last round. It was something that he was a very special guy, and we loved having him here for many, many, many years. I think this is the ideal time to thank our friends at CBS for their coverage of the memorial, including Jim Nance, who spent 18 years along Ken in the booth and actually accepted on behalf of Ken when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, World Golf Hall of Fame. There's also our 2015 honoree, Nick Faldo, our coordinating producer, Lance Sparrow, who is right behind me, who has and continues to be an important part of the memorial tournament. Lastly, our friends at the Golf Channel, which is airing today's ceremony live and will be here all week to provide their usual terrific coverage of the memorial. We appreciate their commitment to the memorial and to the game of golf. So we also thank each and every one of you for a tremendous support of the memorial tournament. It's going to be a great week, a great show. We've got a great field, and I'm looking forward to watching it, and I hope you are too. Have a great week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. That concludes the ceremony, but don't forget the Jack Nicklaus Memorial on the clinic on the range. I think William McGirt, last year's champion, is going to be here as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, drive carefully. Enjoy the week.